Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new on my channel, my name is Stella. I'm an education, lifestyle and mom YouTuber based in the United States. I'm an international student in the United States of America. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. It is a red button down below, and if you want to get notified whenever a new video pops up on my channel, you can click the bell which is right next to the subscribe button, and so whenever I upload a new video you get notified. In today's video, this video is part of the series that I'm currently doing on study abroad based on my experience. I will link the videos to the other topics that we've discussed in this series in the description box. Today's video will be talking about standardized tests. If you're interested in this, and I'm sure that you are, definitely keep watching. Yes, by standardized tests, we're talking about those tests that are usually required by universities abroad, and that means we have GRE, Graduate Record Examination, we have the English Proficiency exams, which may include IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo. Now this is for those who are going to graduate school. Graduate school means you're going for postgraduate studies, masters or PhD, because for undergraduate the kind of standardized tests that are usually required, I think they differ because they do things like SAT. So I'm focused on graduate school because most people are going for graduate studies. So what I want to discuss about here is whether or not you need to sit for this test, and when you need to sit for the test, and why you need to sit for the test. I've gotten questions from people which I find very funny when people just contact me and tell me that, okay, I want to study abroad, I have written IELTS. Honestly, that's not the requirement for you to gain admission. That doesn't also mean that you shouldn't sit for the test. What I'm just trying to say here is that you wrote IELTS does not qualify you to study abroad. So like, if you have watched the other videos, there is a series of things that you need to do before you begin to think about writing the English test or writing GRE. You need to be sure that you actually need it for you to be able to start wasting spending such kind of money to write this test, because these tests are actually expensive. I think IELTS right now is 83,000 naira in naira. GRE, I can't even begin to talk about that one, and then TOEFL, quite expensive. So you need to really be sure that you need these tests before you begin to sit for them. That's on one hand. On the other hand, it's also if you want to play safe, it's important you sit for at least the English test before you start applying. In fact, let me put it this way, based on my experience, what you need to do is to have confirmed that, okay, I'm going for a PhD in chemistry, for example. Most of the schools and I'm going to the United States, most of the schools in the United States do not need GRE for me to do a PhD in chemistry. But if you feel like there are particular schools you want to go to that you know that they need GRE, go ahead and sit for the GRE. But if you have checked and there is no need for GRE, why would you want to sit for GRE? Then on the other hand, English tests, a couple of schools usually require you to sit for the English test. Now, in order for you to play safe, from my experience, you just go ahead and sit for the English test so that you don't have limits to the schools that you get to apply to. If you sit for the English test, you're going to you have more schools to apply to. You understand what I mean? So that doesn't also mean that if you don't sit for the English test, you cannot apply to schools. But then sitting for the English test and having a good score gives you the opportunity to apply to more schools and without restrictions. Do you get what I mean? I'm sure you do. So it's very important for you to know why you are sitting for a test, not just sitting for tests because people are sitting for tests. Another thing is that there are usually required scores. It's not just going to sit for English test and I have IELTS, I have TOEFL, so I can apply to the US. There are required scores. Like there was a point when most of the schools I was applying to needed IELTS score of at least 7.5. So imagine if I had just randomly sat for the test and I got maybe 6.0. I'm not undermining anybody that got less than that, but if I had gotten 6.0, so that means the IELTS score is useless because I don't even meet up with the requirements. So you need to understand the requirements, know exactly what minimum score is required, and honestly, if there's a minimum score there, try to beat that minimum score and go a bit higher, because it's a competition. Like I always like to mention, it's a competition, and you will not want to just be on the minimum benchmark and then a lot of people have higher scores and then they are picked over you. You get what I mean? I'm sure you do. Then if you see why it's important for you to have decided on which country you're going to before you start thinking of writing tests. If you're going to the UK, most schools in the UK do not require GRE for you to gain admission to study some courses. I mean, to the best of my knowledge. So why would you go and sit for GRE when you know that you're going to the UK? So do you see why it's important for you to have understood, okay, which country you're going to, what you're going to study before you begin to sit for this standardized test? It's also very important to do these things early on. You see, when it comes to this study abroad journey, I can't overemphasize the place of timing. Like, you need to start planning on time, so that you will, by the time you won't want to be on a rush where you quickly check the requirements and you see that they require GRE, and then you have to apply for GRE, and you have maybe just 1 week to apply to sit for GRE, and you want to crack the exam. I don't know how possible that is anyways, but it's important for you to allow a lot of time to be able to do this. Don't be in a hurry, don't be in a rush. Just take your time, start the process, create a timeline for yourself, and do things one after the other, so that you are well prepared at the end of the day. And that's one of the key to success, being well prepared for an opportunity. So it's important, know where you're going to, know what you're going to study, check out the requirements, and if you need standardized tests, give yourself the space of time to be able to make proper preparations and crack the exam. I hope this video made sense, and if it did, please click that like button, drop me your lovely comments, tell me what you think about this topic. Those of you guys who have written this test, who have had some experience in it, drop your comments. Let's my fans let those who come here who are interested in this information read them. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I'll see you guys in my next video. I remain your girl Stella. Bye bye.